Welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, a pilot into the universe of Chinese, and let's continue exploring this chopped into smaller pieces concept related Chinese character that sound alike and also meaning adjacent. Okay, so here, yesterday we talked about jian, this double X stacking up, and means multiple chopping up. Chopping things into smaller pieces. So it means minuscule. Now this one, with the thread, this fiber on the left side, make it into thread. Interesting, we don't keep this as an individual character. We add this chopping into smaller pieces to it to make it a thread. And if you look at the traditional Chinese, it adds something else. It added spring to it, spring as the source or the upper stream of water in nature. When water first show up, like trickling in tiny little white color form pieces on the surface down the mountains before they converge with other trickling water into bigger streams. So we're talking about white water, xiàn, that means the upper stream of water. And today we normally translate it as a spring. So traditional Chinese use that to describe the shape of thread, compare it to the spring in nature. Spring not already kind of like a jacuzzi on the ground kind, but kind of upper stream at the top of the mountain when it's still skinny strip of water trickling out from the mountain to the surface. So that's the shape of that comparison versus simplified Chinese following 2,000 years ago's Xushen dictionary, make this xiàn that use double stacked up daggered axe. So double axe in there, chopped up into smaller pieces next to this thread imagery to make it a thread. So my understanding of this thread oftentimes shows they are, for thread to work, it has to be small in one dimension and long in another dimension, right? So when it's small, as in that you can thread it through a needle hole, that is the descriptor of this chopped up into smaller pieces. So the cross-section of the thread is described in here versus qiàn, the spring, is the longer strand. It's a different dimension. You look at it from different angle to describe the thread. Okay, 线立体 example. 线立体 is Chinese translation of mitochondria. It's a direct translation because mitos and chondria is a Greek source in Greek language, and the mitos means 线 means thread, and chondrion means grain, 粒, like you see the rice symbol right there. That's Chinese grain. The unit of measurement of rice, so grain of rice, right? That's the one-on-one mapping of the thread and the grain, and 体 simply is body. In Chinese, we can have 体, this body in different scale. It can refer to human body as our human scale, or 天体, celestial body. Just like in English, the body used in multiple scales. And here it's mitochondria scale. That this is Chinese translation of 线立体. Okay, 一线生机, one thread, 生 living. 机 is from the trigger, I guess, not a gun trigger, but pull. I guess the ancient crossbow or bow trigger, because in wartime back then, you have to be ready to be in position and have the power, have the bow ready in position before you release. Wait for that chance. So this triggering or this immediacy of releasing the arrow is our translation, is a meaning of 机, and that eventually becomes chance, becomes like something show up and you have to respond to. It may or may not be in your favor. However, it's a chance you have to take. And 生机, living chance. So it's already directional. It means a chance to be alive, to stay alive. So 一线生机 exactly is about that. That means not much hope, just one single thread of hope. And 生机, roughly translation of hope. But you know, 生机 in Chinese here is chance of being alive. Okay, 线条优美. We have thread, 条 came from the twig. Chinese use 条 as, I guess, a shape descriptor, because everybody has seen trees in nature, and the twigs, not trunks or branches, but the tiny end piece of a tree that's skinnier, and we pair that with thread. So basically we use either a fiber piece, a thread, strand of thread, or a twig from nature. We use two imageries together to mean your line. What line? It means the body line. 线条优美. In here, this pairing, this a thread and twig together means a dancer's body's line. So the line, the imagery created by a dancer, because for dancers, it's important to have elongated lines. Example is from the end of ear to the top of your shoulder. You want to have this distance as long as possible. You don't want to shrink like this. You want to expand and elongate. And this 线条 is what make a great dancer from an okay dancer. Okay, and 优美 is the description of the movement. 优 by itself means excellent, and the Chinese describe the excellent with person with this 优 imagery. I guess together they make the sense of this is not an ordinary person. This almost like an outlier. So it's like in a bell curve, it's, you know, the outlier on the end. And 美, we have the lamb and the big at the bottom. Chinese use this premium lamb meat for animal sacrifice to gain favor from the gods, ancient times, right? So that eventually extended to, okay, the best kind of meat. And here is the best kind of visually pleasant thing. So 优美 together describe this excellent representation of the best of the, I guess, human species, a good specimen, let's say, in good, elegant movement. And that's the description of 线条, mostly for dancers, sometimes for people who are good postured. So here is a zoom up view of how the fibers here look on thread. And here also remind that simplified Chinese describe chopped up small pieces of the cross-section of the thread, versus traditional Chinese is the alternative version to describe the length of the thread that looks like the trickling of water at the beginning of its journey. So two ways. 谢. Thank you for your time. See you another day.